A few months ago, Carl from InternetOfBugs released a video titled SciShow is lying about AI, here are the receipts. This video was mean and contained many factual errors. After it had received over 200,000 views, Carl took the video down and released a follow-up saying that he didn't like how it had been received. Not because he had spread misinformation himself, but because
that video that I made had fallen into a narrative about SciShow going downhill, basically.
Carl then released a new video talking about how multiple science YouTubers are lying about AI. This new video is also mean and also contains factual errors. Excitingly, the new version also briefly shows the thumbnail from one of my videos as part of a wall of evil pro-AI industry propaganda. Which means that I have personally been called out. For like 2 seconds. It doesn't matter because I am technically involved, making this my first official YouTuber drama. Woo, hooray, drama, yeah, alright, drama, that's great, woo, love drama, yeah. The central point of both videos is that developing superintelligent AI is not possible, and therefore any science YouTubers who say otherwise and call for AI safety legislation are spreading misinformation and helping the AI industry. In both versions, Carl gets very upset about what he calls the biggest lie in SciShow's video.
But even compared to aircraft, antibiotics, and nuclear power, the speed at which we are developing artificial intelligence beats them all.
That is just blatantly false. Sincere people might disagree about where we are in the life cycle of AI and how fast it has been moving. And I'll get to more detail in a few minutes about that. But there is no way that AI is happening faster than atomic power. It's not even close.
Carl spends a significant chunk of both videos obsessing over this claim that modern AI is developing faster than nuclear power did.
So in 3 years, we've gone from ChatGPT's very public splash to the flop that was ChatGPT 5. By comparison, in 3 years, from August 1942 to August 1945, humanity went from the founding of the Manhattan Project to more than 100,000 people being killed in the nuclear bomb strikes on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The idea that these two things are in any way comparable is infuriating. Let's pick one example from the end there. The speed at which we're developing AI does not beat the speed at which we developed nuclear power. And it's not even close. The Manhattan Project was founded in August of 1942. By December, 4 months later, they had a nuclear reactor running at 200 watts, and 3 years after that, in August 1945, more than 100,000 people were killed in nuclear explosions at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. 10 years after its founding, in 1952, both the US and the Soviet Union had nuclear-capable strategic bombers, and the era of mutual assured destruction was beginning.
The problem with Carl's correction is that nuclear power and nuclear weapons are different things. Nuclear power is the use of nuclear reactions to produce electricity. The biggest lie in SciShow's video is just Carl not knowing what nuclear power is. The major risk one faces on YouTube when taking a holier-than-thou tone and saying things like,
SciShow should know better and do better.
And
SciShow viewers deserve better,
is that you look pretty silly if it turns out that you're the one who made a mistake.
So this kind of crap should be expected from AI grifters. SciShow should be better than that. And just so we're clear, there is no time interval where AI has progressed faster than atomic power. The time from the discovery of fission to Nagasaki is 7 years, while the discovery of the transformer architecture that powers ChatGPT was 8 years ago.
Right. Except the first grid-connected nuclear power plant didn't come online until 1954, 16 years after the discovery of nuclear fission. The first time a nuclear reactor was ever used to generate electricity was in 1948, 10 years after the discovery of nuclear fission. And that was only a proof of concept using a toy steam engine that lit up one Christmas tree light. Carl chose the invention/publication of transformer neural networks as his arbitrary starting line for the development of modern AI. This happened in 2017. 8 years before the release of his videos. You might not know this, but 16 and 10 are larger numbers than 8. So whichever finish line you choose for nuclear power, it still developed more slowly than modern AI. The frustrating thing though is that it wouldn't even matter if SciShow had made a mistake here. This can't be misinformation about the dangers of AI because they're not talking about the dangers of AI. They're just using a historical comparison to emphasize that AI is developing quickly. Fixating on this point does nothing to address SciShow's core arguments. It's just a sideways attack on their credibility. Also,
these models are as bad as they are ever going to be, which I totally accept. Like, that is true.
Humanity is not ready for what will happen next. Not socially, not economically, not morally.
Okay, and you know that how exactly? And that's based on what exactly? Guess it must be the Hank Green school of, like, that is true.
I didn't like that. That felt mean. And speaking of mean, in both videos, Carl says this.
So jumping to the end of the SciShow video, here's a disclosure that's a lot more important than you'd think at first.
Thanks to Control AI for sponsoring this video.
So I've had Control AI reach out to me, and so I've done some research on them, and once I looked into them, I started seeing their talking points everywhere. I really don't like it because they feel to me as if they are acting as a propaganda arm of the AI industry. Note that I'm not saying they are a propaganda arm of OpenAI and friends. It just feels to me like they are acting like it.
Control AI is a non-profit organization that advocates for AI safety regulation. What you're saying is basically equivalent to, I feel like the World Wildlife Fund secretly hunts pandas for sport. I'm not saying they do hunt pandas for sport. I'm just saying I feel like they do. There are real, hard-working people at Control AI, and I'm sure it doesn't feel nice for them to be accused of being AI industry shills based purely on vibes. Admittedly, I have worked with Control AI in the past, so I am inclined to see their team as people and not a faceless organization to be freely vilified. I save that treatment for the good folks at OpenAI. Also, don't hide behind, I'm not saying this is true, it's just how I feel. Either you have the evidence to accuse them of something, or you don't. Spoiler alert, he doesn't.
So here is Hank quoting from a statement that I'm going to put in the upper left of your screen that's been signed by a bunch of AI executives, scientists, and famous people. But what Hank isn't going to tell you is that there are actually two different such statements.
Regular viewers of my channel, and also anyone who reads the news, will know that there have been significantly more than 2 public statements about the risks of AI. For example, Carl ignores the 2015 letter signed by scientists including Stephen Hawking, which helped to bring mainstream attention to AI safety, the Pause Giant AI Experiments open letter, and the recent statement on superintelligence, which I made a whole video about. These letters are extremely famous, having received a massive amount of media attention, and being very important to the history of AI safety as a movement. So it's kind of hard to believe that someone who claims to be well informed about AI safety hasn't heard of them. Case in point, one of these letters is actually shown on screen in Carl's video, in a clip he took from Kyle Hill. It's right there! This is your video! You edited this! You saw this with your own eyes!
Now, in the lower left, I'm putting Control AI's website. You'll notice that Control AI mentions the extinction statement that Hank read in the video, and then immediately changes the subject to claims that AI boosts growth and innovation, and even mentions medicine. Quite the subject change there.
No, it isn't. Acknowledging that AI has potential benefits, while arguing that it should be regulated, makes you seem like a reasonable person. It is also literally true. In the original version of Carl's video, he actually cropped out the bottom part of Control AI's statement, making it seem substantially worse. Now, I'm not saying this is deliberate misinformation, it just feels like deliberate misinformation. Control AI's full statement is literally, AI could be bad, AI could be good, let's regulate AI so we get the good and not the bad. Control AI was actually in the news recently because they've gotten over 100 members of the British Parliament to support their campaign for AI regulation. Oh wow, I'm sure the AI industry is just thrilled to see their propaganda arm at work. Carl then spends several minutes in both videos attacking SciShow and Control AI for talking about the Centre for AI Safety's existential risk statement instead of the UN Redlines letter. This is especially bizarre given that 1. Control AI is listed on the Redlines letter website as one of their partner organizations, which Carl failed to mention in his first video. 2. SciShow was making a point about existential risk, so why would they bring up a letter that doesn't mention existential risk? And 3. The extinction letter is much more famous than the Redlines letter, which is why the former has a Wikipedia page and the latter doesn't. Carl also goes on this weird rant about who has the most Nobel Prize winners.
5 Nobel Peace Prize recipients on the right, 3 CEOs of huge AI companies on the left. Which side are you on? Which side would you expect a group called Control AI to be on? Which side would you hope that SciShow would be on?
The statement on superintelligence, which calls for a ban on developing superintelligent AI, also has 5 Nobel Prize winners supporting it. Why didn't you talk about my favorite open letter, Carl? Clearly, it must be because you're an evil industry shill. As we all know, anyone who doesn't talk about my preferred open letter is a shill. At this point, you may be wondering, how does raising awareness that AI might kill everyone help the AI industry? Well, in my previous videos, I've discussed how AI company CEOs might be using safety concerns to build hype for their products and inflate their stock prices. But that's not what Carl is worried about. His main concern seems to be...
This is why I say that Control AI and SciShow in this video feel to me like they are pushing pro-AI industry propaganda because they are trying to get you to think about hypothetical future problems that you can't do anything about. And when they push that narrative, and only that narrative, it has the side effect of distracting you from the real problems that are really happening, that the AI companies are allegedly causing now, and that the AI companies are, at least in some cases, already being sued for.
First of all, we can do a lot about the hypothetical future problems with AI, like banning superintelligence. And secondly, people can be mad about 2 things at the same time. What you're saying is basically equivalent to, Evil Jimmy burned my house down. Evil Jimmy killed my dog. Oh, I see how it is. You're a secret Evil Jimmy supporter. You're bringing up the dog killing to distract us from the house burning. That reasoning is deranged. It's not how most people think, and it can just as easily be applied to your own advocacy. Don't talk about insecure code, Carl. It distracts from the deepfakes. Don't talk about the deepfakes, Carl. It distracts from the environmental impact. Don't talk about the environmental impact, Carl. It distracts from self-driving car accidents. Don't talk about self-driving car accidents, Carl. It distracts from chatbot-induced suicides. We can be mad at the AI industry for multiple reasons at the same time. Having multiple reasons to be angry makes most people more angry, not distracted. And if we want AI to be regulated in democratic countries, it's actually helpful to talk about all the issues. Some people care about the job losses. Some people care about the deepfakes. Some people care about the misinformation. Some people care about the existential risk. And we can all work together to demand AI regulation. Ironically, your insistence that AI can't possibly ever be dangerous and that anyone who says otherwise is an industry shill is not only factually wrong, it's counterproductive, because all you can hope to do is fracture the anti-AI movement and help the AI industry to avoid regulation. You are actively helping the AI industry to avoid regulation. By far the most insane claim in either video is this.
I do not believe that the doomer idea of superintelligence, artificial or not, can possibly exist. And that's not my personal opinion. That's because superintelligence, as doomers usually describe it, is precluded by well-established mathematical and philosophical principles. I'm not going into that today, though. That's going to have to be its own video. I'm working on it. So hit the subscribe button if you want YouTube to suggest it to you when I get it done.
What? You're saying that superintelligence is mathematically impossible, and that's not your personal opinion, that's a fact. Show me the mathematics. Drop everything and make that video. The AI companies who are betting big on superintelligence could collapse overnight. The Nobel Prize winners who signed the statement on superintelligence will be astonished. Shockingly, I don't want to believe that superintelligent AI is an extinction-level threat. It makes me sad and anxious. So I'm not just open to being convinced. I am actively excited to be convinced. Convince me, Carl. Give me the evidence. Unless you're lying. With the same energy as a middle schooler saying, I do have a girlfriend, but she goes to another school. In Canada. You wouldn't know her. It's crazy to me that you can make multiple videos with the core premise that superintelligence is impossible, and never actually explain why you think that. I can't engage with your central argument in either of these videos because you never made it. You just nitpicked at minor perceived errors and threw vibes-based insults at a non-profit. In your defense, you do seem to genuinely dislike the AI industry, and you are calling for AI regulation. I also admire that you had the integrity to take down the second most popular video on your channel, because you felt it was being taken the wrong way. As someone who makes videos for a living, I know how much effort it takes, and that must have been difficult. So, I would like to issue you a challenge. Doom Debates has agreed to host a debate between you and me. His channel has previously hosted discussions between people much more important than either of us, so it seems like a fair venue. Is superintelligence possible? Are science YouTubers helping the AI industry? Let's find out through respectful debate. Subscribe and hit the bell to find out if Internet of Bugs responds to my challenge. Thank you to Maris Tockler for illustrating this video, and to my backers on Patreon, especially those in the big Sentient Hat tier, for supporting the channel. I'm Siliconversations. Thanks for watching. See you all next time. Bye for now.